direction. Just look around and find at least something good. All you need will come to you. I'll never end you still.
Welcome back to Two Canadians at Kafe Lise, a bigger podcast. I'm Dr. Anton, and with me is...
And I'm DJ Spencer. Oh,
There's a delay, so we're fine. We're back, and we're talking about Season 7. Just got released a few days ago as we're recording, and so we figured this is a great time to let's talk about it. So it's going to be... We've only played, a few nights each on Season 7, so a lot of what we're talking about will be stuff that we've experienced and stuff that we've seen. So, some of it could be a little different than how we remember it, but we'll do our best to be as accurate as possible. And yeah, so we'll just go over everything. We're going to be including stuff from the press release that they talked about and other little news releases that they've put out since then. So it's going to be a little bit of everything for this episode. So yeah, we'll just get started and take it as we can. I guess the first thing to really address or talk about in Season 7, other than the news, I guess the first thing we should talk about in Season 7 is the theme. This theme is Mercenaries. So if you haven't seen any of it yet, if you're just interested and just looking into it, the theme is more, it's very much, if you've watched any of, it's almost like an Escape from Tarkov theme in a way, not quite, because Escape from Tarkov is a lot more, takes place a lot more in a more recent era than this game takes place. This game takes place in the, I think it's like the 90s, 80s, 90s kind of time frame of when it's supposed to be happening. But when you look through the cosmetics in this one, you'll notice things that kind of remind you of that kind of game where you got like the helmets that are very military like. They got the outfits they don't quite look like armor, but they do. I don't know how would you describe it?
yeah, it's definitely like military theme where there's jackets and there's like green berets, there's balaclavas. I was really worried I was going to call it
baklavas,
but balaclavas. Yeah. So there's a lot of and then there's like a few masks too, and it all goes back to I believe it's 1993 Norway.
93, that's it. I think it was like 90s is when it's supposed to be set in. Yeah, and I will say that some of it does look a lot better than some of their previous attempts, like the balaclavas. They've done like the ski masks before, and I've always thought that the ski masks look kind of I don't know how you say it, like almost fake looking. Like they don't look like a real ski mask pulled over someone's face. If you know what I mean. I think the balaclavas actually come off a bit better this season for that.
Yeah, they definitely. I don't want to say it's my favorite cosmetic season, but like there's some really good stuff. Like a lot of the balaclavas I like. I think there's some people that are really going to be happy because there's like a backwards
it's like a ball cap. Yeah.
A baseball cap. Yeah, and it's backwards. So, I think there's a lot of people who are going to be excited for that. It does look a little odd right now because there's like a space around the head, I believe.
I noticed it. Like it looks like there's like a little bit of gap going around. So it's like someone's they're wearing a loose baseball cap almost. It's kind of I know what you mean. And a lot of these things we're talking about, of course, are part of the battle pass. So if you don't have the full battle pass, if you just have the free tier, then you're not going to get most of this until you actually buy into the battle pass. But there is, as always, there is like one outfit near the end of the battle pass that even on the free tier you'll get. And I'm trying to remember what it looks like, but it's a military style. Personally, I do really like the berets. I could actually, as soon as I do get the battle pass, like the full one, I can see myself actually wearing the berets. They look kind of nice. Like there's the different colors depicting different I don't know if it's supposed to be different outfit, like outfits as in military or mercenary outfits. I don't know how berets and military garb work. I don't know if a color denotes a rank or if it denotes a company, that kind of thing. So
I think it's a
a branch,
branch.
okay, could yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I do think they look kind of cool. So those I could see myself using. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Moving on from just the theme, which is like I said, mercenaries. We'll go on to the next thing that they've addressed, and they've even had some news items talking about this. If you paid attention to last season, especially the 6.1 update of last season, they introduced a few new lootable points of interest that would spawn at the same time as the Bard House. So in prior seasons, all you had was the Bard House that was on the map that everyone could try to go to and get loot out of. Then 6.1 came along. They introduced the locked container, which is like a big shipping container that has 3 locks on it, and the timed safe, which had 2 switches somewhat nearish the safe that have to be triggered in order to open it. Coming into season 7, and they were open about this to begin with. When season 7 came
Yeah.
along, you're going to be down to one POI, like lootable POI. And that was, it's either going to be the barred, the timed, or the locked container. Where some of the controversy has come in recently, when they made that announcement, they did say that more would be available if the session was boosted. If people had spent crowns to boost the loot, then additional ones would show up. And they had to, since then, clarify or backtrack a little bit. I guess I'm not sure, 100% sure, if it was an error that it
Yeah.
didn't get implemented properly or at all, or they meant it was coming. So right now, the thing is, if you boost the loot, you don't get more than one featured thing or lootable POI. It's just the one that shows up initially.
Yeah. So when you boost the loot, it's only like the loot within buildings,
Yeah,
containers, stuff like that. It's not the actual like loot events like
yeah,
you mentioned. Um, in like from what I've seen and read, it was just a miscommunication, where the intention was to eventually get there, but I guess it came
yeah,
across the wrong way. Now that's my understanding, and like I kind of feel for PlayStation players because they're brand new to Vigor, so this is all they know,
yeah.
right?
They started out with all these
Um,
extra lootable things, and yeah, where the Xbox players who've been playing for a while, not new necessarily new ones, but the Xbox players who've been playing for a while, they knew what it was like to only have the one. I'm of the
yeah,
opinion those for me have always been, um, what do you call it? Sort of situational. If I spawn close enough to one, then I'll consider going after it. If I don't, then I'm like, I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to do my standard looting and scooting and
yeah,
shooting. So, but yeah,
yeah,
if it was the only thing you've known because that's how it is when you first came in, it'd be kind of annoying. It's like there's
yeah,
not enough loot, and it's like, okay, they definitely have to address it, and they're trying. They've they understand that
yeah,
they kind of screwed up on that, and they've commented on it. I don't know if they've said enough about it yet, or maybe they have some plans down the works. So we'll see. But that's something to be aware of. If you were playing in the previous season and you're used to having those 3 things, you're only going to get one, and if you boost, you're still only going to get one
yeah,
right now. So that's something to be aware of. Yeah.
yeah. And like in my opinion, like it was a one-time thing. It was for just like the Christmas promo and
Yeah,
or
because
the
it came
Christmas
in with the
update.
Christmas update. Yeah.
Um, exactly. And like I said, I feel for them, but honestly, like there is loot to be
Hmm.
had everywhere
There
else
is.
on the map. Like it's not just
Yeah.
these little points, like these loot events as they were called, but like it almost just seems like a lot of people focus on going there and not going to like the actual point of interest or other buildings within
Yeah,
the
it's
map.
true. And even before this,
Now,
like I don't know how many times I've gone through a building that I know someone has been there. Because you could see like doors have been opened or certain things have been looted, but then they leave behind massive things like, oh well, they totally missed this, they missed this,
yeah,
like they missed a whole bunch of loot, or the
yeah,
blue locked containers, which we will talk about here in a moment too, or in a few moments or whenever. I've come in where I've known someone's been somewhere and they totally missed a blue lock container. Usually it's those sheds
yeah,
that are like workshop sheds or whatever. They have two doors on them,
yeah,
and the lootable the lock container is usually up on a top shelf. It's like I don't know what the people are looking at. They're definitely not looking at their screens or something, or their angle is such that they're running through these
yeah,
buildings and they're not seeing the big blue lock container up there. But there's been more than once.
yeah. Or there's like a couple of houses there where there's barred house kind of like in the
Yeah.
attic space, but then there's like that side washroom where sometimes there's a combo box
Yep.
and like they don't loot that, right? Or like they won't even loot anything in any of the drawers or anything like that. And it's like they just focus on the
Yeah,
safe
it's kind of
and
strange. It's like
like
maybe it's because they're scared. Like they figure, okay, I don't want to spend too much time here because other people are
yeah,
going to be coming here. Get the safe, get out. But you have to wait
yeah,
90 seconds for the safe. That's plenty of time to get other stuff in the house. Or yeah, I don't know.
exactly.
I can sort of see it. Maybe they want to get the safe and get out and before other people show up. That's that's a valid strategy. But sometimes they do leave behind some massive stuff, and it's like, woo, come on, people, there's stuff
Yeah.
here.
And yeah, and like it does make the grind a little more difficult, I think, with the those loot events not around anymore. However, I like I try to play
Yep.
devil's advocate and everything. Um, but like one interesting idea that I had seen, and I actually kind of like it. Christopher Beast, so
Yep.
he's a bigger partner and puts out a lot of YouTube content. He actually, one of his suggestions was to bring back loot levels to like season four, I believe, was when
Right.
they kind of nerfed it, or season five, they kind of nerfed it. Um, and that way it's like houses would
Yeah.
have more loot, like container little like regular containers would have more loot, so it would help kind of mitigate the loss of those
Mm-hmm.
looting events. And because it's like, Doc, like we both know, like military barracks on Battery
Used to
used
have
to
quite
be
a
a
bit
gold
in it.
mine,
Yeah.
right? And it was incredible. Like I had one run where I had like 22,000 in loot value, and I literally spawned right there, and I looted the whole place, and I just left
Yeah.
because I had so much. Like it was amazing. I had the three combo boxes, and like even the within the drawers and stuff. Like it was amazing. The guest house on Victorson Station literally used to be the best POI
Yep.
on in the game, and it's like it got nerfed, and now like it feels like there's
Mm-hmm.
barely anything there, and almost it shouldn't even be like a POI at this point. We kind of talked about this beforehand, but like it just moving, like making or increasing the amount of just regular loot throughout the
Yeah.
map might mitigate. And I
Yeah.
kind of like that solution. I'm not sure if there's any other ideas,
Yeah. And
but
well, I know one idea I've heard, which I don't necessarily disagree with, or it might be something they could look at. Instead of having all three, like people liked, maybe have two. Have like the Bard house, which is always there, and then have a random one or the other of the other ones, maybe, or I don't know. That
okay,
two
like
out
a
of the
two out
three
of the
kind of
three
thing
type
have,
thing.
yeah. That could be
Yeah,
something. And yeah, I did like it in season four because that's when I started season four, and there was a lot more loot around. And it still got
yeah,
boosted. People still spent crowns to boost, but maybe, and I'm just playing, like you said, maybe a little bit devil's advocate. Maybe that was part of why it got shrunk down a bit, is to make it so that when people pay for boosts, it was more meaningful. So that yeah, there's still loot around, and you can still get decent loot because even now I can still get decent loot as it is. But now when someone boosts a few times, that's when it's like, okay, this is sweet. This is going to be a good loot run. Um, and maybe that was what they were trying to go for, is to maybe it's to encourage crown use, which that's a whole different topic
Maybe.
because crowns are overly expensive, like way overpriced. So
Yes. Yeah.
there's been other people talking about that too. So that's something they should, in our opinion or my opinion, definitely look at is crowns.
No,
Crowns.
I I,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
good. So that's something they're overpriced. So it makes it so like you don't want to actually have to spend money on crowns. Just use the crowns that you're given or whatnot. But yeah, okay. But yeah, so that was the rotation of the loot events. So that was that part of it. Um, Another new thing from this season is the anti-camper feature. So they camping has always been one of those things. It's always been a hot topic for Vigor. Um, People who hate camping are very vocal about how much they hate camping, and I've always been of the opinion it's always really, unless you watch the person after the fact who killed you, it's really hard to know if someone's actually camping or not. Like if you get killed, half the time when I kill somebody, it's because, oh, I hear someone coming. I'm going to let them come to me. I'm not going to go. I'm not a person who runs out and engages people. Because I'm not that good at direct combat. So if I hear somebody, if I'm moving around looting a house and I hear someone coming, okay, yeah, I might stop and wait for them to come to me. But I don't consider that to be camping, where somebody sits in the same spot for minutes and minutes and minutes at a time for no reason other than hoping someone's going to come by their field of vision, or if they have a sniper rifle that they can snipe somebody from a distance, just to get those types of kills. That's the type of camping that
Yeah.
people hate, really hate, and it can be a little hard to prove if someone's actually doing it. So they've listened to the people who are complaining about this the loudest and come out with an anti-camping feature. And how it works is if you stay in one spot, and apparently you can do a little bit of movement around that spot. One, I think, partner was saying that it's within like 5 meters. I think if you don't move more than 5 meters from where you are, um, that'll trigger the anti-camping feature. The time periods on this vary a little bit, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah. So it looks like it starts off with 4 minutes, but then once the airdrop comes in, then it's about 2 minutes for the
Okay,
countdown to start, or the
right.
mortars to come in.
Yeah, so after whatever length of time it is, a big alarm goes off. Like a really loud alarm goes off, and then so it gives you a little bit of time. I'm not sure how long, like several seconds or whatever it is. But then after that period of time, and it's marked on the map, anybody who hears this alarm can open their map and see a red circle around the area that has been marked. Um, Mortar strikes will start hitting, and it's about, I think, 3 mortar strikes or something like that. It's not just a single mortar
Yeah.
strike. It's like two or three, and it lasts a long time. So they start hitting
Yeah.
around that area. So if you're the one who's stuck in that area and you're outside, there's a good chance you might get hit, but they do give you enough time to run away. So, but if you're in a building, all these mortar strikes are hitting around, but you're fine because mortar strikes don't penetrate buildings anymore, and then they haven't done that since season 4, I believe. So, um, because I can't
Uh,
remember if season 5 had penetration.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think you're right. I think season 5 was when they got
yeah,
nerfed and it didn't have building
yeah.
penetration.
So, yeah, if you're in a building, you're fine. You just have to put up with all the noise and bombs going off everywhere. So this one is one that I'm very skeptical about, like how effective it really is. I'm not a big, I don't hate the idea of having some kind of anti-camper feature. I just think the mortars are a bit much. Um, and in my opinion,
Mm.
I think they could have gone a couple different ways. Either they could have marked the area on the map and let the other players know there's a camper in the area, and then they look at their map and they say, okay, in this area there's someone who's not moving or whatever. They could have also gone another step further and done something similar to Team Killer, where if the game thinks you're camping, it marks you with a special thing so that people know where you are on the map. Now the difficulty with that is, should someone be marked necessarily for the rest of the match? Because what happens if it was an inadvertent camping? Like you got distracted for
Yeah.
something, like people have lives and sometimes they get distracted in their game or outside their game, and then all of a sudden, oh great, I'm marked as a camper. What happens to me?
Yeah.
um
My baby starts crying and I have
yeah,
to run up and check on him and
exactly.
see what's going on.
So maybe if it's marking the area, it's not so bad. You could leave the area and they'll know, okay, well, there's someone potentially camping around there. We don't know where they may be, but we'll be careful. If it is something where they mark the player, then give it a time limit. You know,
Like a
yeah. So
cooldown
like
type
you're
thing.
marked, and for the next 2 minutes you're marked, and then if you don't leave that area, or if you're still camping, it's going to stay up. But if you start, if you move enough that you're no longer considered to be camping, after 2 minutes it goes away. Something like that. You know,
Yeah.
that's my thoughts on it. I think that would be a little bit more reasonable than these mortar drops. The mortar drops make no sense to me. Having a big mortar drop, and it's not just annoying for the person. Yeah, sure, you're not supposed to be rewarded for camping, I guess, but it's annoying for everybody because I'm not even anywhere near these people, and it goes off, and I'm like, oh my god, I hate this. Like it's annoying
Yeah.
me, and I'm not even after the person who's camping. So yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. Like they had to do something, um, but like it just seems like a little extreme. But they're yeah, I'm kind of on the same page, Doc. Where like I think there might be a better alternative. It's a good
Yeah.
first try, because like I said, they had to do something, but
Hmm. And
mm,
yeah, go
like
ahead.
the devs did say they're open to ideas, right? And they're always open to feedback. Um, and like they might not be as quick as some people would like, but you know what? Um, they're open. Like so I yeah, they're open to new ideas, and I think it'd be a good idea. Like I kind of like that idea you pitched. I've seen it around on Twitter as well, and it's the community does have some really great
And they
ideas,
do pay attention to that kind
and
of stuff. So if they've seen, because I know I've heard similar things from other people too. So if they've seen anyone talk about this, maybe they'll adjust it because it's a first try. It's their first attempt at doing something. Their first, actually no,
yeah.
second attempt technically, because their first attempt, which is still around, was the birds, to help with the
Oh,
crows
the
for
crows,
camping,
yeah,
camping at exits. And it doesn't
yeah,
necessarily just mean someone's camping an exit. It could be that two people are hitting an exit at the same time and the crows go off. And I thought that was kind of cool. I like the crows, and for the most part, they usually
yeah,
work. I think there's been a couple times where, like, I think in Battery, where one of the exits can be a little bugged and it doesn't work. But for the most part, it
yeah,
works. And I like the crows. I thought that was a good addition. I just think this one's a little over the top. And apparently, and I think a couple of the partners have mentioned this too, there can be fake mortar drops. Like it acts like somebody's camping, and it does a mortar drop anyways, but it's not necessarily. It could be a fake drop, from my understanding. And what makes me think this is actually a thing, there's been a couple times I've been on maps where a mortar drop has happened in an area where players can't get to. It's like, why is there a mortar drop happening here? like on Fel Canton, it's like in an area of mountains that's beyond the play area. I saw like a mortar drop going off. It's like, what's
right.
happening over there? And in Fiske, it was these little islands at the top of Fiske that you can see, but I don't think people can actually get to. And they're not far from the coast, but I saw it go off there, and I was like, why is there a mortar strike happening there? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So that's what made me think that this is an actual thing that there are fake mortar drops. And it's like, okay, well, what's that supposed to help?
Yeah.
What's that supposed to do? Maybe that's a bug. So it's possible that these fake mortar drops
May-
are a bug.
Maybe, or I don't know. I was just thinking maybe they're trying to like get people to come to that area to kind of like initiate
Maybe,
a fight.
yeah,
So like some players are drawn to gunfire, or like they see, oh, someone's camping there, I'm going to go get them,
yeah.
because it's almost like a signal detector, right, where you kind of know
And
someone's in
that's
the
like the
area.
team killers have a similar
But
effect. If you get the team, someone becomes a team killer,
yeah,
there are people who are like, oh, hey, there's a team killer, let's go get him, right?
exactly, right. So maybe that's why there's fake ones, or maybe it
Maybe,
is just
yeah,
a bug.
yeah. So I
Who
guess we'll
knows?
see what happens with those. I just thought it was strange, a little a little weird, and okay, makes you go Um, but that's the anti-camping feature. Next, something they've added this season: openable, um, openable and closables, maybe locked exits. So it's a new
Yeah.
feature that um, I'm not 100% sure if it shows up in every map, because I haven't necessarily played every map. But when you're in a map that has a locked exit, you open your map as normal and you'll see an exit with an X on it, meaning that exit is currently locked. Um, so in some maps, oh, go ahead.
Well, it's a red mark.
It
I
is
don't
an
know if
X.
it's an X, because
Well,
the orange. Oh, is it? Because like it's an orange X right underneath the tent for the exit.
oh yeah, no,
So I thought it was
no,
just a
no, but
red mark.
well, I'm fairly sure it's an X. Okay, I think it's an X.
Okay.
Anyways, it's red. It's different color. I guess if
Yes.
you're colorblind, maybe it'll look different for you. Um, but it is a red something. It's in a bit. It does look different because for the exits are always marked by these orange sort of look. They look like tents, kind of like rest area kind of symbols or whatever to denote an exit, and then they have a different color over top of it to denote that it's closed. Depending on the exit, it might mean that you have, when you go there, that you might have to pay some kind of material to open it. Typically, if it's a dock or if it's an area that has a boat, you'll need fuel. That's what it seems to be. 5 fuel, and that seems to be universal so far, to basically to pour into the boat. And you can do this in um, you don't have to do it all at once. So if you have, say, 3 fuel on you and your partner has 2 fuel, you can put 3 fuel in, they can put 2 fuel in, and then it'll start the boat. And then once it's open, if it's a boat like that, it stays open. So after you've used it or you've primed it and not necessarily used it, anybody can use it at that point. Another one
Yeah.
on Victorson Station. I'm pretty sure it's the same on both sides, but I've only used one side. The train tunnel. There's the 2 train tunnels. The northern one for sure needs 2 electronics. And so what it is you run into that exit, you climb into the last car that you can get into, and there'll be a little computer there. You need 2 electronics to get the computer up and running, and then a little gate opens next to you, and then you can go in there, and that starts the countdown. So that's how you open that one. I don't believe that one can be closed after the fact. That's how you open it, and then it'll be open for everybody. Um, the other ones I've seen. Which other ones have you seen?
Uh, I've seen on, well, Battery has a few
And
of the
I've seen on
boats.
battery where it could be like 4
Um,
boats, where they're all locked, and then one exit isn't locked, and it's the non-boat
yeah.
exit at the very bottom.
It, yeah. Anytime I've played Battery, actually, they were all locked except for that one
Oh,
in the
okay.
bottom right
Okay, so I
where the
wasn't
road
sure if that
is.
was always
Um,
all 4 were locked or if that was random. Okay.
yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure if it is random or not, but anytime I have played
Okay.
Battery, that's the way it was. Um, but I've always been at that near that bottom exit, so I've I haven't had to unlock it. But I will say this: it does make for interesting gameplay because it's forcing players to
Yeah.
loot,
Yeah, because you have to find
right?
You have to find gas. Like for those ones, you have to find gas. And where battery can be a little difficult because typically when you're finding gas, it's going to be maybe lying around in a bunker or in a vehicle usually, or in the car park. Car park sometimes you'll
Yeah.
find it lying around in car park.
Yeah.
So there's certain areas you have to go to if you want to find fuel. Fiske has a port, and so far it's the only one I've ever seen locked in Fiske is again the boat where you need 5 fuel, and
Yes.
fuel's not abundant in Fiske. If you have to go like to the tunnel, there's one tunnel that connects the sort of north west and northeast sort of area, northwest area. There's like some houses, and there's a tunnel that goes from there back to sort of the main area. You can also go through the mountains to get there, but there's this one tunnel and it has a bunch of vehicles in it, and that's a good place to find fuel, both in vehicles,
Yeah.
beside vehicles, and in the side tunnel sometimes. But outside of that, if you're lucky, you'll find some fuel in some of the vehicles around town, but it's not guaranteed. So it's almost like you have to really look for fuel in Fiske. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been interesting because like on battery too by radio mast there's
Yeah.
usually a few
That's right. There's fuel there.
um
Yep.
fuel containers. But yeah, like I've seen some very interesting encounters where like there was two duos fighting, and they managed to get the airdrop, and like all four of them. So they found the red
Okay. Yep.
airdrop, and then there was a trio. So there's three drops within
Right.
the airdrop itself. So literally both duos ended up getting the drop, and they both like scattered, and they
Yeah.
both went for exits, and none of them had the fuel. So they literally had to go from like the furthest reaches of battery down to the bottom right. And it was funny because the one duo that I was actually watching, because I could only see it on
Okay.
the map,
Yep.
right? And so you could tell that the other team went up north, and then they tried to get out, but then they couldn't. So then they ran. But the duo I was watching, they literally just needed one more fuel container, and instead of even looting or checking any vehicles, they just scattered and went down
They
bottom right.
panicked.
Oh my god, it was so funny. But then just the timing, both teams ended up at the exit at the same time, and it was just
Oh
like a
my.
slaughter fest. uh, but it was very
That's cool.
interesting to see. But yeah, I kind of like it because it
Hmm.
promotes looting. But at the same time, like if people are just hunting for kills, if you kill people who were looting, you could still get that resource
Yep.
you need to get out, right? So it's definitely an interesting concept, and uh, yeah, it's hard to judge right
Yeah.
now
It is.
how it works, or how effective
Yeah.
it is and stuff like that. Um,
Maps
but yeah, it's
maps I
definitely
haven't
interesting.
noticed yet. Broderlen, I have not seen any locked exits on that map yet. Um, I don't think Forest I've noticed any locked exits either. So there's a couple maps I haven't, I've played it quite a few times and I haven't seen any locked exits on them. Um, Grontheim doesn't have a locked exit, but it does have an exit you can sabotage. And that's the middle exit, which a lot of people hate as it is, because that's the one where you have to make a couple of jumps. And if you can't make those jumps, you fall and you hurt yourself, potentially die. And if radiation's coming in, that could be your last chance, right? But the first ladder, I think it's the
Yeah,
very first ladder you go up on Grontheim,
yeah,
you can interact with it now and basically cut the rope. It doesn't cost anything, it's just an interact. But then that ladder drops to the ground and then no one can get back up there. So you better hope if you're going up there to exit and you cut that rope, you better hope you make your jumps because if you miss a jump, you're not getting
yeah,
back up. Well, that's not
yeah,
fair
exactly.
because I think there's the first jump. If you land right, I think you can still move along the rocks to get back to the second landing. But if you're really lucky, if you're
Yes,
lucky and you don't miss that, that
yeah,
drop or whatever, because if you miss it and you get all
yeah,
the way to the ground, you're screwed. You're not taking it again because that ladder's gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once that exit's no longer in use, like it's marked
Yeah.
just like a locked exit with the red mark. Now, um, uh, that's actually kind of cool. I think it's an
Hmm.
interesting concept, because it's like, yeah, you could go and like kind of screw over, I guess, your opponents, but if you really want to be mean, you could troll your teammates and kind of like go up there and it's like, oops. It's
Oh
like,
no,
sorry,
buddy,
buddy,
you have to go
you're going
run.
for the long.
Yeah. I guess if you have teammates like
So
that, then
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
watch out who your friends are. But yeah, it's really cool. I think it's very
Yeah, and
interesting and
it's
neat.
sort of, and I'm wondering again if it's more influence from Tarkov, because a while ago I can't remember what update it was for Tarkov, where they introduced, and I think it was mainly, well, they've had like exits where you had to have a certain key to get out of, like in factory and stuff like that, where you had to have the
Yeah.
factory key to use. But then when I think it was when Reserve came out, they introduced a number of exits, and I think they started doing it in other maps as well, where you had to have either certain equipment to use the exit, or you had to remove equipment to use an exit.
Hmm.
Like in Reserve, there was one where you had to have, instead of a standard melee weapon, you had to have the climbing baton or climbing axe and some rope. And if you had those things, you could use one particular exit. But then there's also like another exit in Reserve where you couldn't wear your backpack. If you had a backpack on, you couldn't use this exit because you're sort of climbing through a waste tunnel or something. So that's
Oh,
the
okay.
first time I'd ever seen like exits be, specific use. And now Vigor's doing something like that. Maybe it's an influence, that they're, bringing a new twist on it. That's my thoughts. But it's kind of neat. Um, Other maps, Canton has potentially at least one exit that doesn't require materials but can be locked behind you, and that's in the, what do they call it? Sealed off section. Yeah, sealed off section.
Yeah.
In sealed off section before, there was always this sort of gate right in the middle of it, where you could find stuff like sometimes there's loot there, but then sometimes that's where a bard could be, bard house, or the triggered, the switch safe could be in there. But there's always this gate in the back with looked like a door, but you can never do anything with it. Now, that door will be open and you can go in there. And on the wall there will be a breaker box, and you can interact with that breaker box to close the door behind you. So that would close off that exit, and you can use it. But you can reopen that exit, so you can go in there and close it off, and then reopen it if you want, and go back out, and it's open to everybody again. It's kind of a weird little thing, but it's also kind of neat. So it's like a new exit that can be closed off. Um, I don't
Yeah.
know. I hadn't seen it with the flooded cavern yet, so I don't know if flooded cavern also has that. So potentially it could. Maybe it's the same kind of setup. I don't know.
No, it's just
It's just that
that
one
one
new
new
one,
one,
as far as you know
as
too.
far as I
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Does Anakin have
Yeah.
anything? Have you noticed anything with Anakin? Okay.
I have not.
Now that
Honestly,
Anakin's part of rotation, I
since
haven't seen it that
um,
often.
yeah, I have yet to actually play with Anakin as
Okay.
a an option, just because it's the rotation. So I have not been able to play it whatsoever, and I haven't really seen anyone like on any streams really play Anakin,
Okay. Right.
to
Okay.
check it out.
And I don't know if there's any other maps that do or do not have anything. I think we've covered most of the maps now. So
I will say this though, that new exit is kind of cool because like I dread going into the tunnels. Like any of the tunnels on
yeah.
Phil Canton, it's like I feel like, it's essentially like a 50-50 shot. If someone you run into someone, that
Yeah.
you're going to live or
True.
die. So it's nice to have that because like you mentioned, there's the time safe sometimes, there's Bard House. You could go in there and then literally grab the loot
Yeah.
and then get out. So yeah, in a way, it is kind of nice because otherwise, like the exits are there's a little bit of distance, like it because of the shape of the map. You're kind of like at the furthest point
Right.
from any
Yeah.
exit,
Yeah.
I think.
So that's true.
So
Yeah. And one I forgot about is the Sagbrook sawmill. They also have a pier that has a boat that can be turned on and off with, or not turned off, but
okay,
use fuel to unlock. Yeah.
unlock.
So I'm going to
Okay,
go off on a limb and just say that Anakin probably has that too, because Anakin, it's all water around it. So I bet you all those exits can be
uh,
locked or unlocked. So I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see eventually, but don't be surprised if you go on Anakin and there's more
yeah,
than one locked because it needs fuel. So okay,
yeah.
so that's the new exit, new stuff with exits. Next is some of the new weapons. So there have been some new weapons. Unfortunately, if you're a knife fan, there's not a new knife this season. So maybe next season. Yeah,
I feel like it's been a while too, because it seems like almost every other
every
season
season
there's
it's
like a
been
new
some kind of
knife,
knife. Yeah,
even though
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
it's kind of funny. Like
But there are a few new weapons, and other than I can't really say how effective they are myself. We have seen them in use, and some of them have been pretty good. There's a new pistol, there's a new shotgun, and there's a new LMG machine gun. The pistol is the B93 Raffica. It's a
yeah,
burst pistol, I think it is. It has like a
yeah.
10 round clip, I think. Is it 10?
Uh, I
Or is
think
it
it's 20
21? Okay, it's a
21.
20 round clip.
Well, it's 20
In
plus
the
the one
chamber, yeah. So it
in the
can
chamber,
have up to 20. So it's like a
so
20 round
21.
clip with one in the chamber. Okay. I thought it was smaller than that. People were complaining how small the clip was, but 20 is pretty good actually for a pistol. And
Yeah,
I've seen other
it's
guns with 20.
basically
Yeah.
a seven. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
seven trigger pulls,
So that's
right?
not bad. Um,
And no, it's essentially like like a mini like bugle or M16
yeah.
or ES16, and like honestly, like it is pretty amazing considering like the crafting time on it is only 10
Because it's
seconds.
gray. Yeah.
Material wise, yeah, it's a common weapon. I think crafting wise, I don't have the plan for it, so I didn't really pay attention to how much it costs, but I think it's
Yeah, I think
like
that's pretty
1200
typical, I
material,
think,
like
for the common stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
a common. Yeah, it's either 12 or 16, and it's like it is so cheap, and like I honestly think like you could go in there with just the Raffica, and you get a couple kills, and like say you knock off a couple of guys with either an H bar or SG1 or any kind of like
Yep.
good primary gun. You could pick both of them up and then get out, and you're essentially like building up your inventory with like a low
Yeah.
cost weapon, like cheaper than like an M16 and stuff like that, because you'll have that extra
And
primary
apparently,
slot.
and it's been
So
lasering too.
like,
People have just been killing with this gun.
oh yeah.
Um, so expect it to be nerfed. So it's really, really good right now. So use it while you can. Yeah,
quite possibly. Who
we'll
knows?
see. Yeah,
Like we won't get into too many details. Like I know some people talk about like weapon classification, and like that may be happening or something. It's
yeah,
been talked about, but anyways, it is pretty. It's a very strong gun for
yeah.
a
It's
common
really good.
pistol.
Yeah, from accounts because I have not used it yet. I've only gotten a few of them
Yeah,
myself. So, but I did get the plans, and this is odd, because typically when a season comes out and you get new weapons, the only way to get the plans for the weapons for that season is to buy the full battle pass, and then eventually you get the plans. You always get a few of the guns in the free battle pass, but to get the plans, you would get them through the paid battle pass. I actually got the plans, and I know someone else has as well, through a common crate.
yeah,
So I got the common
yeah,
Raffica pistol plans through a crate in the same season it came out, and that seems bizarre to me.
yeah.
So
No, yeah. It's
yeah,
a bug that they're going to
okay,
address.
so
So hope that you get it
yeah,
sooner rather than later.
yeah,
The
go
the
for your
crafting
common
plan,
crates if you
anyways.
haven't opened them all yet. Open them. Try to get the plan. If you're gonna buy the pass anyways, then it's fine. You'll get it no matter what. But if you're one of those people who just wants
Yeah,
to play the free and you're getting common crates, open them right away. Try to cycle through them to see if you can get it before maybe they fix that so you can't get it anymore. I don't know if that means
Yeah.
that if they fix it and you have it and you didn't get it as part of the battle pass, if it'll go away. Hope not, but yeah, because I know there was the whole thing with the vinyls where when you started the season
Yeah.
with that one particular song, then I think it went away. I think it disappeared.
Yeah. They took it away
Yeah,
if
they
you
took it
didn't
away if you
collect it.
didn't collect it. So, but then you found it. I found it really quickly, anyways, and I didn't even realize maybe I had lost it before. I didn't know, but then it showed up, and I was able to collect it anyways. But I don't know if they'll do something similar here. So maybe you'll have it for a little while, and then it'll go away unless you get the battle pass. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's the pistol. There's a new shotgun, and again, it's getting good reviews. People really like this new shotgun. It's the La Chiev. Don't know how to pronounce it. La
Yeah.
Chiev,
Last
yeah.
job, I
La
guess.
Chiev 12 shotgun. It's called. It's a 9 round pump. Well, 8 rounds, and then you can chamber one. As soon as it's chambered, you can put a ninth in. So 8/9
Yeah.
round pump action. It's pretty fast. Seems pretty accurate. Have you?
And it hits pretty hard from what
Yeah.
I've seen. I'm in the same boat. I have yet to either kill someone or get to the point in the battle pass where I could get them. But yeah, like you mentioned, Doc, there's a lot of players that are really enjoying it. The partners from the preview builds, and apparently this gun was actually in one of the early releases of
Oh,
Vigor,
okay.
like right at the beginning. So like apparently it's come
Oh,
back.
okay.
So
Interesting.
um, I know, yeah, there's a few of them that were some of the OGs that were very excited that it was
Right.
back. So um, I'm actually I don't use shotguns, but I'm actually kind of interested in
Yeah,
using this
and
one.
if I get I have a challenge for people to send me out with a shotgun. So if I get
Oh
that
yeah,
challenge, then it definitely be on my list because typically I'll take like the KS-23 because it can have up to 4 bullets in it. But it's like a smaller shotgun, so maybe it doesn't have the same range that this one will have as being a little bit fuller size shotgun. So we'll just have to see. Yeah. But yeah, it looks like a good
yeah,
shotgun, and as far as I know, you can only get the plans through the battle pass. It's like through the paid battle pass right now until the next season comes along.
yeah.
And then beyond that is the new machine gun, which is the M60E3. It's a big gun. It's a really big gun, heavy. It has the heavy trait. I believe you can only go into full ADS if you're lying down with it. So you can't
Yeah.
crouch and have it up and then ADS with it. You have to be lying down. Um, it has a pretty big clip. I think it's like a 100 round clip.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
something like that. It's 80
yeah,
to
it's in that
100 or
neighborhood, so
something
it's
like
quite a
that.
bit. It holds a lot. It's definitely more than like something like the Sami or the PPSH, which have like 70 round clips. So I think it's closer to the 100 rounds approximately. Again, haven't used it. It did seem
Yeah.
like one that had a lot of
I've
action when people are firing with it, like a lot of recoil.
it's not too bad. Like I've used it
Okay.
in Shootout, which is it's kind of funny. Um, when I played Shootout, I used to joke that whenever I spawned, I used to get an SKS. Uh, and but now it seems like I'm always getting an M60E to
Interesting.
start off with. Um, it's not
Yeah.
too bad. Like I've never been a
Right.
machine gun fan, but like it's not. It's hard to say. So like the recoil's
Right.
not too bad, but I think that's because the firing rate is not as quick as some of the other
Oh,
ones, like the M249
right.
or the UK. I'm
The
forgetting
UK
the numbers for
59.
it, but the UK.
Yeah.
Yes, or
Well,
259
there's
or
the
350.
240.
I forget what
There's
the
the
actual number.
249, I think, right? That uses the same ammo as the bugle and the H bar, and then there's the UK VZ 59, which is the LMG that I don't know what ammo it uses. Um, yeah,
I'm thinking about the military grade
right.
one at
Oh,
UK. Uh, but
hmm,
in any case, um, so like the firing rate is probably amongst the lower or on the lower
right.
range
Okay,
compared to the other ones, and I think that's why the recoil is a little it's a little different compared to the other ones because of that. So it's a
right.
factor in
Okay,
it. Um, the bloom is kind of similar, right? Where it's like the more you fire, the more it
right.
blows up, right? So, um, yeah, it's not a bad LMG. It's just an
Okay,
uncommon
yeah.
green LMG.
Okay.
So
Is it only uncommon? I thought it was a purple. Okay.
yes,
Oh, it's green.
no,
Okay,
it's
good,
green.
good. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I was thinking of a different gun that was purple, but okay, it's good to know it's green.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about it, but the last Jav is
Oh, maybe
purple.
that's the purple one then. Oh, okay, I couldn't remember. Yeah.
So it's the first purple shotgun, military grade shotgun. Everything else has been rare,
And
blue. The
has there been
KS
a
is blue, and
green machine gun before? What's the other? Is there another green machine gun? Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Come to think of it,
There may not be. I'm not 100% sure though. Okay.
I think there's
Oh,
submachine
definitely.
guns. Like I'm thinking of the MGV,
Yeah.
the Suomi, but yeah, I don't think there is
LMG. Yeah.
a
That's green. Because
there
there's like
are
the
a ton of
RPK, which
guns.
is blue. There's two
Yeah,
RPKs. No, there's the RPK. There's two PKs or something. One's a purple and one's a blue, I think.
no, you're right.
Two
There's two
RPKs.
r/PKs. There's a blue
Okay.
and a
Yeah.
purple.
PMK is one I might be thinking of as well. That's a blue one.
That's the
Yeah.
blue one.
Okay. Yeah.
There's the KK, which
Yeah.
is
The KK,
blue.
and then there's the UZ. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the new guns. um, Another new feature. Well, sort of new feature. It's a returned feature. Fiske. Fiske has come back. So they didn't come out with a new map this season, but they did bring back an old map that was having issues. Fiske Fabrikk. Now, because they brought back Fisk, they made it the featured map, but now it's not called the feature map. Now they're just calling it Classic Outlands. So in the previous
Yeah.
seasons, they had two. Well, last season and season 5, they had two selectable, rotating maps, and then they had the featured map. So now they have that, but they called it Classic Outlands, and it's Fisk Fabrique, so it's back. Now, if you played Fisk before, you will notice some definite map changes in this one. It does have a locked exit, which is a boat. Okay, we talked about that a little bit before. But then they've made a lot of changes. Now, I guess it had to do with stability or something. When you run around the map now, in certain areas, you'll notice there's not as many houses as there used to be. And this is specifically on the, I guess you could say, the right side or the eastern side, where there's some roads. There used to be a lot more housing there. So that's really dropped off. There's one house in particular on the northern part of the map, close to the where the factories are. There's this one yellow house that's by the factories on the top. Beside it was this white house, and at one time that white house used to be similar to the guest house on Victorson. It was like the larger two-story version of a house, where it had like a full, two bedrooms upstairs, and it was a fairly big house. They've shrunk that house down to the other two-story one, which has like a bedroom and a bathroom, and just a smaller area upstairs, and then downstairs it's a little bit wider and has a bedroom off the side. So they've changed that style of house. I'm not sure why. I guess again maybe to help with stability. In the factory area where the fish factory is, there's a lot less vehicles in the parking area than there used to be. And if you
Yeah.
run around the factory, they've removed quite a bit of equipment from it too. So you run around, and where they might have had these conveyor belts, there's like one conveyor belt instead of two. Um, Certain warehouses seem to be emptier now too, but that might be in another area. The warehouses I noticed are emptier might be in a different map now that I think about it. That might be Grantheim. I'm not sure.
No,
It was that
it
one
was
too?
that one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had popped into your stream there and we
Okay.
were talking about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
on Fisk.
I'm just thinking.
Because we were talking about, I was mentioning about that new extension on the dock or pier.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah.
Because there's like a
Yeah.
peninsula right on the
And
right
there's
hand
some
side,
warehouses in
and
that
then
little area, and
yeah,
yeah, they seemed to like some of them seemed emptier. Not all of them. Like some of them looked normal, but there was like one that seemed like really empty upstairs. So it's like they reduced the amount of objects on that map, maybe to help with stability. So we'll see how it goes. It's kind of funny now. They made all these changes to help improve stability, but now that I've switched up to the Xbox Series X, I don't have a problem with stability anymore. So it's like I don't know if it's
yeah,
helping. So we'll
yeah,
just have to see. But I have heard reports that everything does seem more stable for Xbox users for sure. Not sure about Switch players. Hopefully,
yeah,
it's more stable for them as well. But
yeah.
yeah,
Even the tunnel seems to have a couple less vehicles
potentially.
in
I
it.
haven't noticed as much. I've been through the tunnels a few times, so I can't remember for sure on the tunnels. But yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to remember because like Fisk
well, a
has
whole
been gone
season.
for a
Yeah,
season and
pretty
a
much.
half because it came out of circulation halfway through
Oh, did
five
it?
because yeah,
Well,
it had
5 didn't have
mysteriously
an update,
disappeared.
so I didn't
Yeah,
realize it disappeared in
so
5.
yeah, it kind of towards the end. That's when
Oh,
people started saying
where's
like,
Fisk?
"Where's Fisk?" So it's been about like a season and a
Okay,
half about that it's
didn't
been out of
realize that.
circulation.
Okay, so they definitely made a lot of changes.
Yeah,
So if you're new to Fisk, this you'll be like, what are you talking about? There's stuff missing. It's not, it's just that there are
yeah,
less houses, maybe less vehicles, that kind of thing, less objects in certain buildings. But the map still looks great. It's still a very pretty
yeah,
map. You go onto it, it's like, man, this is gorgeous. And for the most part,
yeah,
it still plays like Fisk. It just
yeah,
those of us who've been used to it from before will notice some changes.
yeah. Uh, yeah, I it's never been a favorite of mine because I always got caught
Yeah.
on the rocks, climbing
There's a
over
lot
the
of
hills
and
and
there's a lot of
stuff.
falling
So
locations there too. Like if you're playing around in the rocks, there's
yeah,
a lot of cliffs that you're like, ah. Yeah. Yeah.
all damage. Yeah, exactly. But most importantly, for players who have not played since it's gone out of circulation, the fist slider's back.
Yes.
So everyone's going to rush now to the boss's office where that
Yeah.
spawn
And there's a
location
few
is.
places.
So
It's all well,
it's
when we last left it,
there's like
yeah,
four
it
or
was four
five
or five
spots.
spots in when we last played it. It always showed up in that main big fish factory building. And there's 4 or 5 spots. You can look on top of lockers. You can. There's a lunchroom about a story up or something like that. It's like when you go up this one set of stairs, there's like a lunchroom. You could find it on that table. I've usually found it when it's there closer to the outside window on that one of those tables. I think it could be found in the boss's office, which is up there just above that lunchroom. But those are there's several locations in that building. It doesn't mean it won't show up other places, but that's typically where it has been. So we
Yeah,
never know. Maybe we'll see it also in another building. You never know. I've also found the lucky lighter on that map before too. So there's a
yeah,
couple different lighters that can spawn on that map. Maybe
yeah,
the timer one, the tomato lighter can spawn there too. I don't know. Because that can
yeah.
spawn anywhere there's a kitchen.
The, yeah, the fist slider itself is a special issue
It's
one,
hard to
right?
find.
So
It,
it
it
is,
doesn't show up every
it,
map, every
yeah,
every every game.
definitely is.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So keep that in
Just
mind.
because it's back, it's going to
And
take
if
you a
you
while
get
to
it,
get it. Yeah, run.
um,
Exactly. If you get it, maybe if you have fuel, head for that exit. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Fisk is back, so that's great. I've always liked Fisk. I could always do a good loot run with Fisk, so I didn't mind it, and I'm glad it's back. Next,
Yeah.
DJ will have more info on this one. Shootout. They did update Shootout. How did they do that?
Yeah, so Shootout, they've kind of brought in some new weapons, so they've refreshed it. Um, like there's a whole new SKU of weapons. It seems like there's a lot less common weapons. Like I've seen M16s, but like I've seen SG1s, Bugles, A1s, Paras, the new M60 LMG, Suomis, um, the SWSH pistol, which
Yeah.
I really like. Um, the funny thing, I don't know if they're trying to troll us or not, but they you could get a crossbow, and the funny thing is you only get 4 bolts for the
Jeez.
crossbow. So it's almost like they're expecting you to die if you
Yeah,
pick
or
up
to
that
trade it off
crossbow.
right away. Yeah.
But exactly. So yeah, the whole new list of weapons, which is really nice. You can now get consumables. Now, when I say consumables, is like we're talking armor plates, contact bombs, mortars. The spawn rate for those is like
Okay.
very low. It's occasional, and it's definitely like it appears as a tool chest on the map instead
Right,
of a
right.
weapons crate.
I wonder if they limited the
So
number of consumables you could find, or if there's like all the consumables. Like, can you get transmitters, jammers, and pingers, like portable signals? I doubt it.
yeah,
That'd be really weird.
yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
redundant, right? Like you don't need to port
yeah.
someone or jam your signals. But it like when I opened a tool chest, I actually found two
Oh, neat.
armor plates. And then when I found a mortar, it was a single mortar in that one. So I don't know if there's multiple, but it's definitely kind of cool. It's a little strange playing with mortars in a shootout because the map
Yeah.
is only so big, right? And you drop a mortar, and it's almost like an eighth of the map is going to get covered. So it's your standard
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mortar, right? So um, it's kind of cool. And then they've actually given you, they're giving you 250 XP for opening a
Okay.
shootout crate now, whereas last season when they reworked the whole reward system for shootout, you got no XP
Yeah.
for the shootout crates, but you were still getting XP when you open like the resource crates or the weapons crates or the at one point it was giving you military grade crates, but they downgraded it to just
Yeah.
rare crates. Um, but now you're getting that XP for opening shootout
Okay.
crates as
That's
well.
not bad. Yeah, 250 is not like much. It's like a little bit of XP. So
Yeah,
it's nice you're giving you a little bit of XP. It's not going to be game changing at 250, I don't think, because what's common
yeah. It's essentially the, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's an uncommon
might
crate.
be.
Basically the
Yeah, because
same.
common's like 50 experience, and then or is it 25? No, common's a 25.
It's
Yeah, and
25.
if you have all the experience boosts from the battle pass, then it's like an additional 20 75 or becomes 75 um, with the
Yeah, with
boosters.
the boosters.
So yeah, I think you're right. Uncommon might have been 250, and so yeah,
Yeah,
that's a little bit of something. It's not huge, but it's not bad.
yeah, yeah. So nice little tweaks again to shootout. Um,
Yeah.
Kind of refreshes it. And there's also so now when you could die, I kind of like this because now when you die, you could actually spectate other players similarly to like
Oh,
other
okay.
game modes,
Right.
right? So it's kind of nice because like there's been times where I've died and it's like
Yeah.
who shot me, and then it's like you pan to that player right away. Now there's still the cooldown for the spawn for you to respawn, so you kind of like watch for like 3 to 5 seconds, I think it is, until you could get back in. But
Yeah.
it's kind of neat because then you could see where
And
people
I can
are
see
and
it
stuff like that.
when they get to
But
the section where it's only as soon as the section where when you die, that's it, near the end. Last man
oh,
standing. Yeah,
last
when they
man
get to
standing.
last man standing, then at least if you die,
Yeah,
then you can switch between other players to see how they're doing instead of before you could just do the aerial view to see where the people are, kind of. So
yeah,
that's kind of cool.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah,
the shootout
and those are the
changes.
majority of the changes. Now, the last few things we'll go through quickly. It's just some little things that they've sort of added that we haven't talked about yet. Um, they've added it so now when you're in your inventory and you choose a weapon to add to your loadout, it'll pop up right away and ask you how much ammo do you want. So it'll show how much ammo you have of that particular type. You can it defaults to a stack of one, so like into one bullet. So you have to change it to a stack. So it's like either one bullet or a stack. And it's
Yeah.
like just default to the stack. Who's taking one bullet? So default
Yeah.
to a stack, please. But whatever, you change it to a stack, and you can start
Yeah.
choosing it. If you don't have as much ammo as you need, say if you like to take 200 rounds and you have 100 rounds, as soon as you hit the 100, it'll then give you the option to craft more ammo, and then you can start crafting ammo. But be warned, you're crafting into your bag, not into your inventory. So say you want to take 200, yeah,
Yeah.
you're into
Into the
your
loadout.
loadout. So if you want to take 200 rounds with you and you have 100 rounds, your 100 rounds will go in your bag. You craft another 100 rounds, that'll go in your bag. If you like craft 1,000 rounds, it's all going to try to go into your bag. So, and then you have to take it out. So just so you know that that's just to put in your bag for your loadout. You know, don't try to craft for your inventory. But that's a really neat feature that they added. It's really nice. Helps. It saves you a little bit of time instead of having to go to the ammo
Yeah.
section to do it. And you can still do that. You can still, if you're coming back from a thing, you can still reload your ammo, with your weapon or whatever. Or again, you still have the one preset loadout that you can load up
Loadout.
again. That's still there, so it's still only one loadout. But this is just a neat little pop up that they've added that is of value. Um, Challenges. So you have your daily challenges still. They now show up in encounters. So as you're fulfilling your challenges in an encounter, like picking up, say, fuel or whatever it is for a challenge, it'll pop up and say, okay, you've picked up 10 of 20, or it'll show you how much you've picked up and how much you have to go.
Yeah.
When you bring up um, the two square button that brings up your inventory when you're in a challenge, on the side where it would show you what you're tracking for, say, a particular building improvement, it also shows your challenges there now too. So there's a couple places you can auto pop up when you're looting and doing stuff or getting kills. It'll show you, but it also shows in your one menu when you bring it up. That's nice. One thing that almost sort of accidentally came out at the end of last season, but was really part of this season, for Xbox and Switch players, nameplates of your team members show up above their heads now when you're playing with teams. So that was something I guess the PlayStation players always had from Season 6, and Xbox and Switch did not have until recently. So that's new from Season 7. So it wasn't something that was around before. Um, and let's
Yeah.
see. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Definitely some nice little quality of life changes. Like you mentioned, like the ammo widget, and the challenges and stuff like that. Because it's like, if you're playing with someone else and it's like, okay, I need this much glass, and you used to have to almost keep track in your mind,
Yeah,
but now it's like it's right there, right? So it's like the minute it's done, you could be like, nope, I'm good,
yeah,
grab whatever you want.
exactly.
So
Um,
and the nameplates above your head, it's kind of nice. um I didn't really think it was a requirement, but uh I'm sure like a lot of
yep,
people are going to enjoy
yeah,
it.
for sure. And a couple of little things that they mentioned in their notes, like they did some memory optimization, which okay, I think that was supposed to help improve stability. So that might be more Switch and Xbox players who have noticed it, because PlayStation still has stability issues, and they've not acknowledged this, and they're working on it. So hopefully by the next update, they'll be able to fix it for the PlayStation players. It's the whole blue screening issue, which if you've ever
Yeah.
checked into Vigor at all, you've probably read about or heard people complaining about. So um, that's one thing that they
Yeah.
talked about, though, was memory optimization. Um, they've added product details to the Crown store. Don't know what that means. I don't really. Yeah, well, maybe you'll notice something. I don't know. I didn't. They say they tweaked healing consumables. again, okay, I don't know what that means either. I haven't noticed anything difference with healing. I use a healing thing and it works usually. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that kind of thing. So,
Uh, there there is we did forget
oh,
to mention
yes.
one thing is the blue the combinations for the lock container and the combo boxes. Um, they've changed it where now instead of being like black on a black scrolling thing, it's a white. It's the black number on a
Yeah, they
white
changed the wheel,
scrolling
how
wheel.
it looks and
Um,
how it interacts a little bit.
Yeah, and so now the number will
Yeah.
flash, but it's more sensitive now, so you can't kind of scroll quickly through them. It almost seems like it's bugged, or maybe it's just because like the response is not as quick as some people scrolling through it. Because like I've had the issue where I scroll past a number, but I think I have the right one, but I've actually gone
Yeah.
past it. So not sure if that's a bug or how it's supposed to be, and I just need
Yeah.
to slow down
Yeah.
how I scroll through. But that is another change they have pushed through
Yeah.
on
So
season
it's
seven.
definitely slower. So yeah, that is something to be aware of. I have a cat. Okay. The aware of it does seem slower now, and yeah, we'll have to see. I know somebody on Switch who thinks that it might be a little bugged because they say it sometimes flashes on the number it's not. But that again could be you're scrolling through it so fast that maybe the flash is showing up a little off, like not in sync with the sounds and stuff. So
Yeah,
we'll have to see. That could just be back to a speed issue, the fact that they actually slowed it down. So if you're trying to go through it fast, it might just seem a little off. Um, it's still nice that they have. I like the fact that they added flashing to it, because the sound, the difference in sound is very slight to me, so I have a hard time noticing the sound difference. And if you don't have vibration
yeah,
turned on, then you need that little flash to. I think that makes a big difference. It helps. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
for
that,
sure.
yeah, that I think is the last major change for the new season. So there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, that is it. That's season 7. So I'm sure the next time we'll talk about other things as well. But the next major update, we'll see what happens at that point. Maybe it's just going to be a stability update. We'll see. And maybe fixing a few features. It'd be curious to see how that goes when 7.1 comes around, because it definitely sounds like they're working on it now, just because of all the things that have happened. Um, but yeah, make sure to write to us in the comments. Let us know what you think. How are you finding the new season? Is it everything you were hoping it would be? Is there more that you would like to see happen? Let us know. We'd love to hear it, and then we can maybe even incorporate it into our next episode and talk a bit more about it. You never know. But thanks for
Yep.
listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. All those things. We'd appreciate it. But until next time, I'm Dr. Anton.
And
Okay,
I'm
and we'll
DJ
see you in the
Spencer.
Outlands. Have a great night. Take care.
Bye.